Ukrainian troops had advanced about 1 kilometer towards the battered eastern town of Bakhmut. The artillery units shelling Bakhmut have seen real progress in driving the Russians away, Ukrainian fighters told a CNN team reporting from the Eastern Front. The Bakhmut area has been a center of battle during the Russian wars. It is now one of the directions in which Ukrainian troops have launched their counteroffensive in early June. Ukrainian soldiers described storming Russian trenches around Bakhmut. Fighting continues on the front lines of Bakhmut, the Ukrainian city that has seen the fiercest fighting of the war against Russia. A substantial Ukrainian force was pushing an assault against Russian positions in the south on Thursday in an intensification of fighting that some Ukrainian officials and Western analysts said marked the start in earnest of Kiev's much-wanted counteroffensive. The combat against Russian positions south of Zaporizhia fighting continues to be intense in parts of eastern and southern Ukraine, with Kiev reporting small territorial gains as its counteroffensive meets strong resistance from entrenched Russian forces. Witness the devastating power of Ukraine's army of drones as Russian equipment worth millions is obliterated. Tanks, missile systems, and command vehicles are no match for the precision strikes of Achilles drones. With 10,000 operators trained and more to come, Ukraine's drone capabilities continue to expand. Footage showed Ukrainian forces taking out a Russian Strela-10 surface-to-air missile system, resulting in a huge series of explosions. The aerial clip shows the Russian war machine beginning to maneuver away, retreating into some undergrowth to hide, with one Russian soldier seen nearby, before the area is hit by a huge explosion, with its ordnance apparently detonating as well in a series of smaller explosions. It was not immediately clear where the strike took place. President Volodymyr Zelensky has admitted that the advance has not gone as fast as had been hoped, despite Ukraine starting to deploy more Western-supplied weapons and tanks. In an ominous sign for Russian, Ukrainian Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov said over the weekend that the main assault of the counteroffensive is yet to begin. Russian forces had confirmed that there was fighting for Rivnopil on June 16, 2 weeks after the official launch of Ukraine's summer counteroffensive. "2 weeks since the counteroffensive began, Ukraine is making modest but steady progress in 3 areas of attack across the 1,000 kilometers, 620-mile front line. Troops are launching probing attacks, while most of Ukraine's forces are being held in reserve, waiting for a big enough opening in Russian defenses to launch a main attack and try to recapture land in the south of the country. The fighting has been hard, with heavy casualties on both sides and opposing armies claiming the upper hand. Ukraine's advance in southern Donetsk has stuttered, but continues. The BBC joined the 68th Jager Brigade as its combat forces sought to expand their control eastward of the recently regained village of Blahodan. In their sights were a series of trenches protecting Russian forces on nearby hilltops. The men of a specialized drone unit grab cameras, roll cables, and load a pickup truck with tins of ammunition, crates of smoke grenades, and armor-piercing rounds. The artillery barrage over, we leave through a lane at the end of her house. 3 Russian corpses lie in a ditch just beyond Nina Fedorivna's vegetable patch. A truck with the Z symbol, which was used by Russian forces, sits nearby riddled with bullet and shrapnel holes. The fighting here was at close quarters. They head east, leaving Blahodan behind. The 2-car convoy is well spaced in case of Russian attack. The fields around are heavily mined. Poles with red and white ribbon mark cleared ground. Ukrainian guns didn't stop for the 2 days I was with the brigade. The cars speed on to a network of trenches hidden in a line of trees. There, Company Commander, Senior Sergeant Andriy Onistrat, 49, runs his men through their next mission. A Ukrainian assault is planned for the next day on the Russian trenches, 3 kilometers, 1.8 miles, away at the foot of the low hills to the south. In their attempt to widen the front, sections of the 68th Brigade will attack from the countryside east of Blahodatan and Makarivka, across minefields and directly in the line of Russian fire. A Ukrainian defense official says Russian troops are engaged in a massive redeployment in the south of the country, including an area where Ukraine has launched a counteroffensive. Security Council Secretary Oleksiy Danilov made the comments on Ukrainian television on July 27, saying the redeployments were taking place in the direction of the Kherson, Melitopol, and Zaporizhzhia regions, and the Russians were bringing in additional forces. Danilov also said that Ukraine is now receiving from Western partners the weapons it needed back in March and April. The weapons supplied include high-mobility artillery rocket systems, HIMARS, from the United States. HIMARS have a longer range and are more precise than the Soviet-era artillery that Ukraine had in its arsenal. Ukrainian officials have said their deployment has been critical in the fight to repel Russian troops and to strike their supply lines. Natalia Humeniuk, spokeswoman for Operational Command South, said earlier on Ukrainian television that the Ukrainian counteroffensive had made advances near Kherson. The counteroffensive in the south of Ukraine is moving forward. The Russian army is demoralized, she said, adding that 2 villages, Andriivka and Lozov, had been liberated and Ukrainian forces were strengthening their positions.